Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan, and I think I bumped the camera because I tried to keep the framing right about there. There we go. We don't need to see the beam holding up the basement. We just need to make sure we see the dinosaur. Ah! All right, let's see here who we have in the chat. We have Mike's Future Retro. All right, well, we'll say hi to Mike when he gets here at after 9:30, he says. We have Thomas Armstrong. Yeep. We have Jack68K. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Jack. We have, Thomas says, typing on a phone is hard. Yes. And auto incorrect likes to help you at every turn. We have Jesse. I8386SX. Hi, Jesse. Jesse says, let's get the stream into overdrive. Jack laughs. Haha. Pentium joke. Yes. We have Thomas Armstrong says, one pin short of a Pentium. There's a tale about that pin, potentially. We have Gutbomb. Hi, Jason. And we have Ian Scott. Hi, Ian. All right. Well, I've got the December tip jar. The link is in the description. Yes. And let's see here. We will first go to things I mentioned the previous stream that you probably forgot about, but I'm going to show you anyways. All right, so I think I mentioned Tuesday we were having the holiday party at work. They were going to do one of those sip and paint without the sips events because, well, can't have sips at work. And, well, here we go. I will not be quitting my day job to do painting, but the sample painting was a snowman looking up at the snowy, starry sky. They even gave us little twinkle lights to put on the painting, and I've turned them on for your viewing enjoyment, and I don't think it turned out half bad. I even initialed it, so, yeah. Oh, hi, Jamie. We have Jamie's Hack Shack in the chat. Yes. We have Mike's Future Retro. Hi, Mike. And Jack says, it's Gutbomb of Power Macintosh 6100 fame. Yes. It's adorable, yes. So that will go with the one that I made 2 years ago. All right. Oh, let me turn the batteries off so that I don't have to replace them too soon because they're probably the annoying battery size. All right, let's see here. Don't have anything in the things you all have sent me category, so I guess that means...
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Justin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes up with these titles anyway?
Yes. Don't let the lack of a box fool you. I had reasons that I went ahead and opened it. But anyways, we have a motherboard. And it did come from eBay. I have the packing material to prove it. So anyways, if anyone's wondering, we've got more of that fine packing material where it came from. I got a box full of it, in fact. We can see what's on sale 3 weeks ago. I'll let anyone try to guess where this might have come from by the sale ad from Fantastico stores. All these nice, wonderful items here. I see the Ferrero Rocher chocolates. Got some wines here. We got a bullet blender. Some other cookware. Duracell batteries. A Rowenta vacuum cleaner. I mean, look at these. It's amazing, even though this is in a foreign language, how much of this I can tell what it is. Jack says the wheel should crash and burn. Don't give me ideas. I already have enough of them. All right. Anyways, if anyone couldn't figure out from that, this motherboard came from Bulgaria. So, hi to all my Bulgarian viewers. And a special hi if you happen to have also went to college with me. And hi. I'm pretty sure there were some... Jesse says Mexico or Brazil. Oh, that was actually Cyrillic. Or Cyrillic, I believe. Came from... I said Bulgaria. Yeah, it says Bulgaria. So, yeah. Anyways, this is one of those weird motherboards. And it probably needs work before it'll work. I don't remember if it said it posted or not. But anyways, that is a 386. That is a 486 socket and the 386DX socket in the middle. Those are VESA local bus slots. Coming soon, probably sooner rather than later. We will take a look at this board and try to fix the potential post problems. I'm pretty sure I know what might be stopping the board from posting. That is not the world's worst battery damage. However, it would not surprise me if the one or two traces here that are broken are probably slightly important for the board to work. Thomas Armstrong says, I had a board like that. Ian Scott says, I love these weird boards. Yes, this would be the third one that I have attempted to repair. The first one, ultimately, I was Jack's asking, so there was VESA local bus. Was there VESA net bus? No, there was not. So, if you're wondering why this would be number 3, because believe me, I would like to just get one working and be done with it. The first one was... Actually, this... Is it number 3? Alright, so... One I tried to fix, which I believe was number 1. The board was given to me, but ultimately I figured out there was a short in an inner layer under a chip, so the board is not repairable. The second board was tested, working. Yeah, story of eBay sellers. Or guaranteed working. I couldn't get it to work, so it went back to the eBay seller. They wanted me to return it, so fair enough. So this would be number 3. Gutbomb says, not repairable. Sounds like a wager to me. I mean, Gutbomb, the board, it has an inner layer short. That is not feasibly repairable. Because you would have to go down to the inner layer. Gutbomb says, not with that attitude. Well, I mean, Gutbomb, if you want to try to fix it, I'll put it in your pile. If I should still have the board. Assuming I haven't pulled parts off of it. Gutbomb says, yes, please. All right. I will, if I still have the board, assuming I didn't send it to someone else and forget about it, I will send it your way next time I have stuff to send you. Jack says, inner layer short is my middle name. Anyways, so this isn't tonight's repair project, but it will probably be a repair project for next week. Because I would like to get one of these silly boards working. And besides, I ordered it from Bulgaria. So, I want to work on it. I mean, it doesn't seem to be in bad shape. So, hopefully, I'm somewhat weirded out about how there's not that many capacitors down there, but it is kind of weird. But not like they look like they're missing. I'm not sure they were ever installed. Anyways, so hopefully that's repairable. It doesn't look like there's that many traces affected. I mean, it looks like that one there is probably gone. That one there is probably corroded. And it looks like this next one here probably just needs to be cleaned up to make sure it doesn't continue corroding. But that actually... Oh, I think I see one more little trace here that hopefully it's... I'm hoping it maybe just goes to this diode, but we'll have to look. Because there is a little trace here that kind of just ends at that silk screen. Probably means it goes somewhere, but anyways. That Capom says, I went to a Bulgarian music festival in Boston on a date once. It was pretty cool. The girl I went with was a little crazy, though. Can't tell most of it in Justin's chat. Yes, thank you for behaving in the chat. Got bomb. Jack says, you got a fun story out of it, though. That's the best kind of story. Yes. All right. And we have one more item. Yay, a new subscriber. And I keep forgetting to fix the animation. All right. I got one more item. I had to unbox this one because I wasn't carrying the box downstairs. Let me see here. Yes. Kapop says, pronounce that name, Justin. I wouldn't even know where to start, Gutbomb. I wouldn't know where to start. Yes, we have a computer case here that I must be crazy for buying one of these. Because I already owned one. I didn't really need a second one. But historical accuracy got the best of me. So you're probably asking. Jack says he probably wants them to stay subscribed. Yes. But you're probably wondering what I got. And it's just not going to fit in the camera frame anyways. There you go. That probably tells you all you need to know. I bought another Inwin A500 case. Arrgh. I have no idea, Jack. I don't make up the names on old servers. I just show them as they are, and for all I know, someone shamed this server by putting a name on it because maybe whatever was running in here was like a really cranky computer. I don't know. I don't think. Oh! Also, I think someone just jammed this. lid on without any respect for how it actually was supposed to go on. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'll have to keep this lid separate from the other one because unless the that lid might actually be in better case. Jack says clearly the NetBIOS name. Jesse says need more camera. Capcom says, hey, I'm using one of these right now. Yes, we have. It is an Inwin A500 in relatively decent shape. I mean, there's a crack on one corner of the faceplate, but otherwise, I think the faceplate's in good shape. It actually has a vintage case badge on it. It's got a floppy drive, a CD-ROM drive that for some reason is pushed out of place, and a zip drive. Capcom says my A500 has removable sides, but the top stays on. Is that maybe not the S500? Because they had a is the power supply on the side like this, or is it on top? Because I think the A500 has the power supply on the side here. Ah, yes, yeah, you've got the S500. The cases are like from the front, you can't tell the difference, but from the back, that's the difference. Yes, I think you. Jack says can't get anything past Justin. Yeah, yeah, I've got to keep that. I had to keep that in mind as I was looking for one of these because I really did have an A500 back in the day. But why did I buy this case? Despite the fact that it's got a crack in the front and apparently held a cranky server. And I probably overpaid for it, but we're not, that's not important right now. What is important, that is an actual Inwin backplate, and no one's punched out the sound card holes. And I wanted one of these Inwin backplates, A, for historical accuracy of my second PC rebuild project, but B, because I thought there was actually something different about them and want to, like, post the dimensions on Tinker Different so we can make a 3D model of it. So I think I figured out why I couldn't get a standard ATX backplate into my other Inwin case. And the thing is, it was user error. And I will give you all the if you have one of these cases and you can't get the ATX backplate to go in, there is a trick to doing it. Most modern cases, well, okay, so most modern motherboards, the backplate is attached to the motherboard, so you don't even have to insert it in the case. You just yeet the motherboard in the case and Bob's your uncle. Slightly older backplates in modern cases, well, you just push them in the case, and there doesn't really seem to be any rhyme or reason how you push it in. I generally push my backplates in top first, and then kind of wedge the sides in, and then push the bottom in. But on these Inwin cases, you cannot push it in top first. There is just slightly not enough clearance in the thing to start with the top and then push the sides in and then try to push the bottom in. And that is why in another live stream, I could not get the backplate to go in, which made me think that the dimensions were wrong. You have to push the bottom in first on these cases, and then you can push the sides in, and then you will have the leverage you need to push the top of the backplate in. But anyways, if anyone's wondering, is there anything different about the in-win backplate that they included with the case? Yeah, there is. There actually is. So I will take some dimensions of this weekend and post them to the Tinker Different thread, and then maybe that will help create a 3D model of the backplate. But anyways, apparently InWin had created these really creative backplates that, well, they kind of bend around. And they're retained by two tabs at the top and then a couple depressions in the case on the bottom. I don't know if the I don't know that the S500 has a removable tray. Now, yeah. This is my consolation prize for buying a whole nother A500 case just to get a backplate to take dimensions of. The consolation prize is I do have a second case where you get to pull the entire tray out. Yes, I wish I could go widescreen enough to show you that this is like the entire, I mean, some motherboards with removable motherboard trays, you got to pull the cards out and then you can pull the motherboard out. This one, you can leave all your cards in. The entire tray comes out. I mean, sure, you'll have to unplug the cables going to it to pull it out, but you don't have to pull the cards out as well. I mean, that is pretty slick. I mean, even with the trays, the other style tray, you still have to remove all the cables going to the motherboard, so not really that big of a deal. But the nice thing is, you don't have to pull your cards out. And I guess if you had cables running between stuff on the tray, you don't have to remove those. But yeah, that's pretty sweet. That is why I like the A500 case. Now, unfortunately, there is one reason why I would not recommend getting an A500 for a sleeper build. Despite the fact that you get a pull-out tray, and I know there's probably some of you are on eBay right now, probably discovering there is a pink painted A500 case on eBay waiting for someone to buy. You don't want the A500 for a sleeper build because of the way the power supply goes in the case. Because here's your power supply, and your processor is going to be about here on most motherboards. So you're not going to get great airflow on the processor. And the complicating factor is, depending on where the fans are in the power supply, it could like be trying to blow air onto the processor while the fan's trying to blow air off the processor. So yeah, this is probably why you don't want an A500 for a sleeper build. This might be the reason why you want the S500 for a sleeper build, because the power supply is at the top of the case, which at least then you've got the full height of the case for airflow around the processor. Yeah, this kind of ruins using one of these for a sleeper build. I mean, unless you're going to do like retrofit it with a water cooler, then I mean, maybe you're fine, because then you don't really have to worry about airflow at the processor. I mean, granted, this case was made long before water cooling became popular, so it's not like there's any pre-cut holes for water cooling, because there's not. But anyways, that is the one warning anyone watching this should know. If you were thinking about, wow, I want one of these for a sleeper build because of that pull-out motherboard tray, well, you got to know the way the power supply is mounted, it may not be right. And I think Jack is probably just put the link to the auction I was talking about. Is it seriously still listed? Probably is, because I think it's still in Yeah. Oh, wow. Uh, I have to admit, I have been tempted a couple times to just get it anyways because it could make a sweet Hannah Montana Linux computer. But yeah, that definitely isn't an A500. Um, yeah, unfortunately, the shipping cost is what has stopped me every time. But let's just put it this way: Jeremy wants it. Well, yeah, it's yeah. Tim. Oh, hi Tim. We have Vborg in the chat. Yeah, $68 shipping to me too. Thomas is asking about what about coffee cooled? Ooh, coffee. Jack says just calling it pink doesn't really tell the whole story. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about the butterflies and the flowers that are painted on it, and the monogram. Someone has painted a monogram on it. Unfortunately, I can't really tell what the middle. Actually, it looks like MAW, which if they're following the Southern style of monogramming, their first name begins with M, their middle name begins with W, and their last name begins with A. However, it's possible that their first name begins with M, their middle name begins with A, and their last name begins with W because they've kind of like angled it, slanted down. Yeah, it definitely needs some touch up, which could be hard to pull off. But I mean, they've painted the lid. In fact, I guess let me. Yeah. Let me just share the screen real quick because so that we have this for posterity. But anyways, okay, here is the case. I mean, this is pink with butterflies. I mean, look at all these cute butterflies. And it had an Intel, is that a Pentium 2 sticker with MMX? Jeremy says I'd strip it and paint it violet. Violet. And Jack says, I wonder if someone used this for their business. If they did, they were a florist. Guarantee it. Almost. Hey, look at this. The butterflies all over it. Someone took some time to paint it. And quite honestly, considering this seller is a e-cycler, I'm actually surprised the paint is held up as well as it is. But I have to say that InWin IO shield, why? Why did you cut a hole in it like that? Jack says, I bet it looked really good before it got banged up. Yeah, I know. I mean, look at this. Someone took a lot of time to paint this. And it's got a little corrosion on the bottom, but it doesn't look like it's too bad necessarily. Because it looks like it's just surface corrosion on the bottom. Okay, it is missing the little plastic card guide on the front, which means it's missing the place where you can put an 80mm fan. It might be missing the speaker. But yeah, as you can see, it's like $68.30 shipping to me. But actually, if you are seeing here, and by the way, if you're wondering why I turned the seller's offer down, it's because I get so many offers. If I'm not going to accept their offer, I usually decline it so I can clear my list because then I have more show up. So they had this case higher than $64.39 at one point. Also, if I notice they've dropped their price after they send me the offer, I decline the offer because I don't want to accidentally accept it and pay more. But anyways, well, Jeremy, yeah. Well, Jeremy, you're slightly closer to them than I am. But anyways, yeah. So this was, I think, $80 at one point or more. $64.39 is the offer I declined probably a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. Anyways, it's down to $40. Unfortunately, I think the thing is, I mean, this case really wants to go to someone who's going to love a pink case. And you're going to have a hard time matching paint to touch it up. Or you could find a Hannah Montana sticker and put over some of the blemishes and call it Linux. And install it Linux. Yeah, Jeremy's saying 5860 shipping to you. Yeah. Ian Scott says, I've seen someone at that recycler post on the vintage computer subreddits. They actually put aside retro stuff to sell instead of scrapping it, which is good. Yes. Vborg says, let's split the cost and give it to Chris for Christmas. Jack says, someone who likes this case should just save the pictures and do it themselves. Yeah. Thomas Armstrong says, I bet 200 shipping to me. Yeah, probably. Jeremy says, I have 2 daughters. I can live with pink because I am comfortable with my masculinity. Yeah. All right. Well, that bomb is, all right. Well, I will strongly consider that as a potential eBay regret for I don't know what month that would be for, because let's see, we got December, and then we have Dossuary, and then Dossuary 2, and then we have DOS. I'm obviously being silly because we're not going to do DOS all year round. Anyways, all right, so that is the in-win case I bought because of reasons. And yes, I'll probably do a build in this case. Not like I'm going to, like, not use the case because I got it. It's just a little wonky, but we'll put a build in here at some point. But anyways, I'll take dimensions of the back plate and post them to Tinker Different when I get a chance this weekend. All right, let me get this case out of the way, and then we will go on to what you all came here for, and that's to watch me suffer. And yes, if anyone wants to sway my potential eBay regrets purchases, well, you know where the tip jar is. I just wish it wasn't like $70 to ship to the East Coast, but all right, so I am looking for Oh, of course. I would have misplaced that. Oh, you know, they're probably on my workbench. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. We've got a Steve that showed up. Oh, let's see here. Oh, hi, Steve. What is my favorite era of retro PC? Probably, I have to say, probably the 80s. Because they're so easy to work on. Probably be my absolute favorite. And quite honestly, some of the best games are for those computers, like Oregon Trail. Now, let's see here. It's, Jeremy says it's the same case model that I built my mostly new PC from Fry's Electronics in 2001. Jesse says I got a bright pink tie that I consider good luck. Since then, I liked pink. 4 out of 4 at job interviews and 1 out of 1 on dates while wearing that tie. Well, seems to be your lucky tie then, Jesse. All right, let's see here. I am looking for somewhere. I have a bag of the tips that you put on dispensers that have what they call a lure lock on them. For example, that is a lure lock dispenser. I think that's the name. Anyways, these tips come in handy not only to dispense whatever is in the dispenser, but you can also use them for straightening pins. And another thing that I apparently do with them is completely misplace them. I guess I will also be buying more of those on Amazon. I bet you thought I was going to say eBay. No, those I'll just buy from Amazon. Because then I'll get them in like 2 days, or 3 days, or 4 days, or 5 days. Or I'm imagining the Darth Vader scene where he's talking with Lando. Like, I have altered the deal. Pray that I don't alter it further. Yeah, that seems to be like how I feel every time I look for something on Amazon and want it shipped quickly, and it seems like the actual shipping time is not 2 days anymore. And I feel like they're Darth Vader standing there saying, I have altered the deal. Pray that I don't alter it further. Okay, so we will not be using that method to straighten these pins because I don't have any clean tips that go in those dispensers because I have... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just realized. I think I've got a new tube of... Well, I thought I just realized I think I've got a new tube of... yes, I do. I've got a new tube of flux. Because I just looked, I was realizing, wait a minute. I'm low on flux. No, I'm not. I've had a tube in the drawer on standby for a couple months. Because I've managed to have a stream. It seems like I went an awful lot of live streams without soldering much. And then finally, Tuesday, we worked on the IBM XT motherboard and I recapped it. If you're wondering why there seems to be a lot of tantalum capacitors on one side of my workbench, well, yeah. There's the tantalum capacitors that I didn't even give a chance to go pop on me. Anyways, this is a new tip for the flux dispenser, so I will use it for straightening pins, and then I will put it back in the bag so that I have it for the new flux. Anyways, so we have the Pentium Overdrive processor, or PODP. Do be aware that if you were searching for these on eBay, that PODP is a good keyword to search for. However, do not read that too quickly and think that is a second O, because that will definitely not help you find one of these on eBay. Also, this part number here is not the part number for the overdrive processor. That is the part number for this fan. To get the fan off, to see the actual part number for this processor, you push these two clips in and then kind of hinge it back on the hinge. And that is where the part number for the overdrive processor is. That applies also for the Socket 5 overdrive processors. The part number is under the heatsink. Because in fact, I think they have the same fan on them, so they will have the same part number on the fan. That is a pro tip for looking for these on eBay. And Tim says, I need to stay away from Amazon and eBay. I really didn't need that Sun Micro 1U server, but I bought it anyways. Thomas Armstrong says, oh, too fun. The new hire came in wearing a business suit. Sun stuff is so tempting, says Jack. Yeah, that is true. Steve says, favorite computers maybe for me, early 90s, 386 and 486. Thomas Armstrong says, 6502, every make and model. Yes. All right. So, what is wrong with this processor? Well, you can read the description from the eBay auction. This seller tried to push it into foam and bent some pins, and they think they broke a pin. I am not convinced that they broke that pin. In fact, I missed the broken pin when I first bought this. I looked at the price, and I have to admit, I glossed over the description and then bought it, and then only realized it said there was a broken pin. Now you know why I sometimes have eBay regrets, is sometimes I don't read the description slowly enough to comprehend everything it says. However, in this case, it might actually be totally fine because of the following. All right, let's go. I know Wikipedia is not an authoritative source, but here we go. Note this little note here on Wikipedia. Some 63 CPU models, part number, and then they give the part number for the fan. I should probably log into Wikipedia and flag the article, because that is not the part number for the upgrade. That is the part number for the fan. Maybe I should just fix the article. Have 234 pins instead of 235. Some CPUs came with the pin chopped off, pin A4, and others had the pin completely missing and covered with the encapsulation. Okay, so I'll let the grammar issue slide. That is the wrong part number. But yeah, they mean, I think, the 63 megahertz model. Okay. Have 234 pins instead of 235. Some CPUs came with pin A4 chopped off. All right. So, can we tell what pin is broken? All right, let me pull up the other page I was going to. See here. That's not the data sheet I wanted. I think this is the data sheet I want. All right. Let me set this back to 0. Go to page width. All right. Let me make sure this is the right data sheet. All right. Hold on. Okay. Yep. I think this is the right one. Okay. So here we go. Okay. First of all, here's the processor. And there's the broken pin right there. So given where that pin is, that if this is the A row, that could very well be pin A4. That is also the only broken pin that I see on the processor. Now, there are some bent pins, and actually, in the grand scheme of things, especially if you've seen some YouTube videos such as those by Bits and Bolts, where he's gotten some processors that are like really mangled. I mean, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I should be able to get those back into shape fairly easily and without any drama. Jack says, ironically, A4 is written right on the chip. Yeah, I know. That is ironic. All right, anyways, so that's the pin that's broken. So let's go to the data sheet here. And I'm going to put the processor like this. Although I don't think... I'm having trouble telling... All right, so here we go. Here is the pinout for the Pentium Overdrive processor. And this does say this is the top side view. So actually, I think this is the view looking at the processor from the top, looking down. All right. So the note here says pin A1 is located in the lower left corner. To make the labels on the top plate of Intel processors orient right side up, all RES and NC. Oh, okay. We don't need that other note. That's for a motherboard designer. Anyways, so if we look, and actually, just so you know, I flipped the processor because I think this is the way it's actually showing that diagram is with the top side view, processor oriented, so it's right side up, and pin A1 is in this bottom corner. I believe that if we count up on with the lower side here, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins up, or 4 pins up on whatever is on the my left of the chip, that is going to be pin A4. So that means if I turn the chip 90 degrees, we will be looking at the A row of pins. If I'm reading this right. So this should be the A row of pins right here. So there's A1, because I've just turned it 180 degrees. That would be A1, which there is no pin at A1. A2, A3. Well, that is pin A4 right there, if I am reading this data sheet correctly, and that's the broken pin. Ian says the bottom side view is on the next page of the data sheet. All right, well, let's go look at the bottom side view. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I forgot that was on this page. So the bottom side view. So now, just to confirm, the bottom side view of the data sheet has the processor like this. So A1 is now in the bottom right corner. And if we count up 4 pins, there's no pin in the data sheet. So notice A4 does not exist. Tim says, I might have gotten lucky on this. So yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. A4. All right. Sellers claim that they broke that pin. I'm going to have to call that fact check false. I don't think they broke that pin. I think it was already broken. They just didn't realize it. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I might have gotten lucky on this. I think VBorg just sent me a probably another picture here. Oh, that's that very nice. However, there was one other thing that I realized, that even if this was like, if this happened to be like the not, if this wasn't A1, I realized that this pin is VSS and this pin is VCC. So even if this wasn't the pin that Intel broke, I was pretty sure that it was going to be one of the ground or voltage rails. However, okay, there is one other thing I'm going to do, and then we'll get to straightening pins. Because I thought I would also dispel a common misconception. So there is a common misconception that the pins around the outside of the Pentium Overdrive processor are only ground and VCC, which is probably going to be 5 volts. because it's got an internal regulator. But I would like to point out, okay, so the pins marked RES are not supposed to be connected to anything. So, okay, we can let that slide. But we got a pin called init. We'll keep that one in mind. All right. So NC is no connect. LDRES. All right, we'll keep that one in mind. Ooh, a BLEN pound. I think in this diagram, pound means active low. If we come on around, we got cache pound. Ooh, that's definitely not just a voltage or ground. We've got a couple other pins that are smashed together. I can't really tell what those are. Anyways, if we go back to the Intel datasheet here and we look, I believe here we go. Yep. So there's one of those signals, cache pound, pin G1. And INV, there's N1. So yeah, there's some control signals in that area also. I think some other cache signals there. So anyways, just as a side note, there are some control signals on those outer pins. It is not just ground and data. However, I think the consequence would be you wouldn't be able to use write back cache if you broke one of the control signals on the outer perimeter. Anyways, so let's get the pin straightening. So I think the thing that worked for me last time is just one at a time. I'll put the tip on the pin, and I'm just going to kind of try to bend it back. And I'm trying to go in a pattern, but my pattern basically is I'm looking down the pins, and I realize it's probably not the best angle for you to see, because if I hold it like this for you, then I can't see which pins are bent. But basically, I'm looking at the pins straight down, and I'm looking for any pins from this angle that look like they're slightly bent out of place, more than just like a little bit. And I think that one is. And I'm just putting this thing over it and then very, very gently bending. All right, so these pins here, I think I might be able to see them better at this angle. I think that one is slightly bent. Yep, there we go. I just want to get these back into. If I get them mostly in place, then I should be able to put it in the socket very carefully. All right, so these pins here are the ones that I think got the brunt of the damage from putting it in foam. So looking at these pins, do I believe the seller was trying to put this in foam when they bent the pins? Yes, this looks like this does look like they tried to put it in foam and luckily didn't press down super hard, and they stopped when they realized that they were bending pins and it wasn't going in. So fortunately, they had the forethought to stop. So I'm in agreement that yes, they probably were trying to put this in foam, bent some pins, and I guess then we're not really wanting to bend them back. Or I'm kind of wondering if they were trying to put it in foam to sell on eBay as a working processor, but they bent pins, thought they broke one, and then sold it for parts. That's probably the way it went. So I'm going to have to say I believe that they were telling the truth when they said they bent the pins trying to put it in foam. However, the part I don't believe is I don't believe they broke this pin. So actually, I'm exonerating that part of their story. I have a feeling they pulled it back off the foam, saw the pin missing, probably didn't realize it was missing beforehand, and probably assumed they'd broken it and the pin fell onto the floor somewhere, never to be found again. So if the seller does happen to be watching, I think you can stop walking like there's a little gold pin missing on your floor somewhere, because I think Intel removed it before they shipped the processor. So your feet are safe, I believe. Because according to the data sheet, that pin wasn't supposed to be there anyway. So, yeah, foam concrete maybe, says Tim. Thomas Armstrong says WD-40 and the eye hammer. Jack says, just put the pins on the socket and put your foot firmly on the chip. Epom uses a mechanical pencil for this. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, a mechanical pencil would also work well, too. In fact, actually, I think I've almost got this thing to the point where I think I could probably put it in the socket. I think it's worth trying to put in a socket. All right, so let's see if I can find a motherboard that will be the lucky recipient of this process. I'm going to find a motherboard that I care about a little bit less. But if I do happen to mangle the socket somehow, not like super bummed. Okay, so all right, this should be a socket 3 motherboard. It's my Jack says needle nose pliers. Oh, Tim says you don't want to know how I straighten pins. It's nowhere as elegant as this. Ah, and Jack's asking needle nose pliers. All right, I am going to use my shuttle hot mess motherboard. I call it the hot mess motherboard because well, it took me a while to realize why in the world it was so it wasn't enabling all the caches. But it is a socket 3 board. So it does have all the pins. So if we do look, now interestingly enough, even though there's no pin, that the pin is removed. So there's pin A1. If we count, let's see, which way is, oh yeah, so I think this is the A row. Oh, in fact, actually it's on the silk screen. Yeah. A. So this is A on the silk screen, and oh yeah, A1. So there's A1. There would be A2, A3. Interestingly enough, the socket has a pin for A4, but the datasheet does not. But anyways, all right, I have the socket open. I'm just trying to see if it will go in the socket. I'm not going to force it. I don't really want to bend the socket. So I think there is still a bent pin. Oh yeah, okay. So I see here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so oh, there we go. That one was bent out of place. And I think the two around it are kind of bent. So anyways, so I'll continue to try to. Oh, here we go. I think that one's also bent. Ooh, I think I got this side. Oh, you can't see. I think I got this side of the processor good because it's starting to go in, but I still have something bent over on this side. Let me look and see. Okay, let me look this way. Actually, this pin. Actually, with that pin, I am going to use my flat needle nose pliers because the pin looks like it has a bend in the middle. I'm just going to use my flat needle nose pliers to try to make sure the pin doesn't have a kink in the middle. Okay. Let's see here. Whoop. Ooh, there we go. There's one that looks bent. All right, let me tilt it so I can see it. Oh, yeah, that corner pin there. Send that back. You know, Keyboard says give it a thump, it will go in. All right. I think I got it like. All right, let me. Oh, ta-da! Yeah, we're good. All right, let's. Oh, hi, Chris. We have Retrotech Chris in the chat says greater than zero insertion force. Yeah. And VBorg says, I was kidding, but okay, it worked. Well, Viborg, I could see that the pins were like so close to no longer being bent that I figured it was worth a gentle love tap or two. All right, so let's just go ahead and use this motherboard for testing this because, well, if there's something wrong with the processor and it fries this board, well, I ain't crying over a hot mess of a motherboard, that's for sure. It'd be a shame, yes, but I was always told don't cry over spilled milk and motherboards that have silly compromises. I mean, I might have made that last part up. Oh, why in the world? I don't need to search for this board other than just tell the RetroWeb it's a Shuttle Hot 419 and then look for my photo. There we go. I was about to like go through the process of like entering all the data. I'm so used to looking for boards I don't know what they are that I was about to go through the process of entering the number of slots and all that to find this board. But yet I know this is a Shuttle Hot 419. All right, we have David Starbuck. Hi, David. No fun unless you use a wee bit of force. Yes, and we have Will Jr. 880. Hi, Will. Yes, we got the overdrive processor in the socket. I did have to give it a few love taps. Just a few. RetroTech Chris says it needs a Mr. BIOS. I don't think there's a Mr. BIOS for this board. It is an Opti 82C 895 chipset, and last time I checked, could not find a Mr. BIOS for it. Oh, hi, Sadmac. Sadmac356 says, if it kills the board, the board wasn't one you cared about anyways. Yeah, Mr. BIOS and Dr. DOS. Or as I kind of like to think of it, yes, the Mr. BIOS and Ms. DOS. Which I guess if they got married, then it would be Mr. and Mrs. BIOS. RetroTech Chris says, we will have to check that mega spreadsheet. All right, well, if you happen to check the mega spreadsheet, I still do need to set some jumpers here. Let's see here. So this is I think this is a P24T. Intel code names. P24T. Yes. Okay, the P24T is the Intel Overdrive, I believe. Because I think the P24D is the regular overdrives. Yes. Okay. So yes, P24T. Unfortunately, I wish. Jesse says, "Is there a Mrs. BIOS?" RetroTech Chris says, "Only in your dreams." David says, "Her name is Phoenix." Yeah. Will Jr. 880 says, "No suggestion Dr. DOS was male or female, so checks out." Yeah. All right. Let's see here. So I got a couple jumpers to set. Unfortunately, you can't just like software configure this. And there are signals you have to change on this board for a Pentium Overdrive processor. So it's not exactly a plug and play proposition. All right. JP58 needs to be closed, which it is. All right. I can ignore the clock ratio. Okay, I think Okay, I'm just going to double check here real quick. Oh, okay. So I need to change JP3. I need to, okay. I need to open 2 copies of this jumper manual. One, so that I can have the diagram of where all the jumpers are up on the screen all the time, and the other one, so that I can see what the jumper settings I need are. All right, so JP3, I need to set to 2 and 3. JP3 should be here. All right. I'm also, because I know what processor I had in here last time, I am only going to change the pins that are different from the last processor I had in here. Because luckily I kept the processor with the board. And open, one and two, one and two. Okay. So I guess the only other thing I have to change is the speed configuration, because 22, 21, 23 is the order of the speed pins. So I had 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 2. Wait a minute, no. 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 2 and 3 is what I have. And that was for 33 megahertz. So to go to 25 megahertz, I need to. Okay. So I need to go to pins 1 and 2 for 22. We might see if this upgrade overclocks, but at the moment I want to run it at stock frequency just to see if it works. Okay. So there we go. That should be what we need. All right. So let me go ahead and put the fan back on. Otherwise it will throttle. There we go. Let me put some RAM in the board. Nice. All right. And let's see here. Put this anti-static bag somewhere where I won't lose the contents, because the original BIOS chip is in the bag. Not that I want to go back to it, because it's a rather old version. All right. The voltage regulators are on the overdrive chip. Yes. In fact, they are. Oh, they're right there. They are. So I don't need to change the voltage, because it just needs to be 5 volts, and I was using a 5-volt processor to begin with. So we're good there. All right. And all right, so I got RAM, so at least the computer can post. I got a video card. Of course, it's a Trident. I wouldn't try to give you all a substitute for such an important test. We're of course going to smoke test it with a Trident video card. But it's a known working Trident card, so that's the important thing. You should always have a known working Trident card for testing boards. Now I'm trying to find my power supply. Because, of course, I hid it from myself. That's why. Okay. I bet I know where it is. Let's see here. Bulgarian sale ad. No. Oh. Alright. Well, it's not where I usually keep it. Let me guess. I've got it connected to something that I moved off to the side. Alright. There we go. Let's use this instead. There we go. An actual AT power supply. Alright. Yeah, RetroTech Chris released a video recently, and in that video, he showed off his new favorite video card because it's in his 486 system. It's a Western Digital. It may not be the fastest card, but it's got the cleanest video output. And, well, there is something to be said about picking a card with clean video output. Quite honestly, if you're going to retro compute, you might as well enjoy it. Oh, and best part is that, yeah. All right. So we've got the motherboard. We've got the power supply. All right. And supply power. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. Oh man. You know, I forgot to switch the Hey, look at that. All right, let's get a keyboard attached. All right, let's get a different keyboard attached than the XT keyboard that's falling apart. Oh, there it is. All right. And while we let that boot. Oh wait, it won't boot. I don't have a hard drive. Or a controller card. All right, let me fix that real quick. There we go. Let's just use this random controller card. All right. Go into the... Okay, well, that's a good sign. All right. So it does see the processor as a P24T. All right. So I think on a things you all have sent me recently, I showed that Retrotech Chris had sent me the manual for a controller card that he had sent me. Well, I have pseudo randomly selected said controller card to put in this computer for testing. And by pseudo randomly, I mean because Chris recently gave me the manual for the card, it just happened to be at the top of the box. Therefore, it was pseudo randomly selected. Yes, I'm sure someone will say, well, that's not how pseudo randomly works. And my response would be, well, that's how sarcasm works. All right, let's see if I can't get a floppy drive connected to this controller card. Somehow, like the world's... Oh, sorry. This is the world's worst floppy drive cable. All right. It has a key pin. A pin, or a key in the cable. Okay, forget that. Let's just go to... All right, we'll forget about the floppy drive. This hard drive, this compact flash card should have DOS on it. So we'll just forget about a floppy drive and go straight for... Okay, why in the world did I hide everything I would need from myself? If you've just tuned in, apparently you have arrived at the time where I have realized that I have once again moved everything that I might need for my inconvenience, and maybe because I attempted to clean up and failed miserably at it. Oh, the obsolete geek sent Chris that controller card, and now I have it. That is really cool. Yeah, Vborg says I hate it when I clean up. I can't find anything. Yeah, no, I can't. I can't find the compact flash card adapter that should be sitting like right there. Probably because it's in a system. Oh wait, sit in the XP. I found it. It was in a motherboard that I set off to the side, and I don't remember what I was using the motherboard for. All right. I even now have my postcard, which I don't really need because this thing just booted like a champ. All right, let's plug the compact flash card in. Let's plug the power to the compact flash card in because I don't know if this controller card supplies power. I can actually now plug the floppy drive in case we have trouble. Not with that end of the cable though. Yes. It's already hard enough plugging a cable in upside down. All right. Okay, there we go. And last but not least, let me pull the card that was in here out and put this one in because of reasons. There we go. Jesse says lesson is never clean. All right, so let's see here. Some of these controller cards require you to set the drive type to like 1. Oh, okay, maybe this one does not like you to set it to 1. 1093, 1660. There may also not be an operating system on this card. Just let it auto detect. Oh, it didn't see it. Interesting. Oh, maybe I should find the manual for this card because maybe, or maybe I should not use a caching controller card for a simple test. That might be the problem. Let me go find a. Because now that I think about it, I think this card requires you to run a setup program to set the drive up before you can use it, and that's more complex than I want right now. Let me just grab another controller card here from the box controller card. Let's see here. That is an IDE card, but it looks like a weird one. It's an Amiga card, an XT IDE with a missing ROM. That's another. That's a cache and SCSI controller that doesn't work. PCI cards, SCSI. All right. How about let's do this? So because that box was disk controllers only. This box is I/O cards. Oh, here we go. It's a nice Visa Local Bus one. That one might work. And just in case that doesn't work, how about a second Visa Local Bus card? Yeah, it was to help me sort. So I got a box that are like disk controllers only. So John says, what's the chances that one pin is important? Let's find out in the next exciting episode. Hi, John. Well, so far I've found that the missing pin was quite likely removed by Intel. So I'm going to have to say that the Wikipedia article is correct because the data sheet from Intel doesn't show that pin being present. And it does appear as if it works without that pin. All right. Well, let's see here. Well, I'll use auto detect. Well, that way we'll know if the controller card is set up right or not. I think it was 993.1663. That'll be the way to check if it did detect it correctly. Yep, there we go. That is correct. Save changes and exit. And there we go. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting PC DOS. All right. CD DOS bench. And RetroTech Chris says, ooh, WinBIOS. Yes, keep that. Yeah. This is like one of my few WinBIOS boards. The only reason I put up with this board, despite the fact that I call it the Hot Mess 419, I put up with it because it has a WinBIOS. But I do have another 486 with a WinBIOS, so it's not my only one. We'll just say it's the one that if I had a defective processor that shorted the chipset out, I'd rather this be this one than another one. But anyways, let's see here. I don't know what the most important question is that does it see the Pentium Overdrive or does it Doom? It does it Doom. I should maybe find a better video card for this test, but whatever. Remember, this is an 8-bit ISA video card. And a Pentium Overdrive. I'm like... This might actually be against the Computing Geneva Convention. Alright, while we wait for this absolute hot mess of a benchmark, because I have basically taken all the fun away from the Pentium processor. Not only is it stuck to a 32-bit bus, but it has been hobbled by an 8-bit Trident card. I am going to see if I have a nicer card to let it redeem itself. And interestingly enough, I have 3 Trident Visa Local Bus cards. Ah, yes, and there's my Mach 64. Of course, we'll use a Trident. I I even have a driver's disc now. Excellent. Oh, here we go. I think this card works because I may have not tested it. I don't see a check mark on it. Oh, okay. Let me see if I've got a card that I actually have a check mark on because I tested it. Oh, wait. I may have not tested the Visa Local Bus cards. Okay. Alright, that one has some cruddy looking contact. Okay. One of these two tridents should work. They've got decent looking contents. Retrotech Chris says. Superscape. Alright, we'll run the graphics benchmarks on this card, then we'll go to an actual Visa Local Bus card that'll let the Pentium have a better shot at redeeming itself. After all, this is the 63 megahertz version of the Pentium Overdrive, meaning it was for 25 megahertz bus computers. Somehow I suspect it may not overclock well to 33 megahertz. We might try that. I mean, worst case, it's just unstable. Alright, let me see if I can find something to write on that I can record these scores. Alright, so Doom is 9254 real ticks. That might be a all-time worst score. Alright, so we got Superscape. Chris, I think your 486 was going faster than this. Retro Tech Chris says, oh man, this is going to be really bad. Yeah. We'll actually put a Visa Local Bus card in here so we can figure out how much of that is the 63 megahertz Pentium processor, which was kind of 12.9. Retrotech Chris guessed 18 frames and it was 12.9. What? Yeah, Retrotech Chris says, whoa. I'm not even going to run Chris's 3D benchmark because that one takes too long to run. This one takes the same amount of time to run on any machine because it drops frames. Retrotech Chris says seconds per frame. Yeah. It'll be about 1.7. Yeah. Frames per second. That was, yeah. All right, and we got Doom. All right, we'll try Quake. you see that text scroll? That's an ominous sign. Okay, so this game may actually play slightly better. Yeah, Chris says, "Oh, that is just cruel." Well, I'm only going to run it at 320 by 200 or 320 by 240 because I don't want to melt my board. I mean, it is playing slightly better than I thought it would, probably because it can make use of the Pentium's floating point unit, which is one of the reasons why people did buy these processors. Chris says, yes, we can find a nice XT for that board. Yeah. So I was reading, I guess, some background info on the Pentium Overdrive. Apparently, competing options were more popular because they were cheaper, so you got a better bang for the buck. Except for anyone running software that actually made use of the Pentium's FPU, then they probably did buy a Pentium Overdrive processor, because the floating point unit in the Pentium would more than make up for the, I guess, higher clocks the other upgrade options gave you for integer performance. Retrotech Chris says 8 bits is not all you need. Yeah. Retrotech Chris says some Pentiums could even do division. Yeah. I like my PNY Quick Chip because it's got one of those AMD 5x86 133s on it. So you get a clock quadrupled 486 core with some nice enhancements for a 486 era computer. I think it had 16K cache instead of the usual 8K. I mean, floating point performance wasn't that great, but for integer performance, it could really do pretty well. And plus, I think those upgrades were more like, 6.2 frames per second. Ouch. Thomas Armstrong says, my cat is good at division. All right, let's see here. Any other benchmarks? Guess we can run landmark system speed. Oh, I'm not going to record this benchmark. That's the useless one. Because we're to run, all right, let's do the CPU check. Okay, so we do have it is seeing it as a Pentium 63 Overdrive for 486. Seeing the bus speeds correctly. Cache is enabled in write-back mode. Excellent. And let's do a cache check here real quick. This should run fairly quick because I have only 8 megabytes of RAM. What video chip, Thomas Armstrong's asking? It's that Trident 8-bit video card. In other words, not a great video card for a Pentium. I've got a Visa Local Bus Trident at the waiting for some slightly better benchmark scores, hopefully. Okay, so we can see we have 16K of level 1 cache. Double what the normal Pentiums had. That was to make up for the fact that it's a Pentium sitting on a 32-bit bus. So Intel doubled the cache. Otherwise, I doubt they would have been able to sell it because it probably would have been hobbling a Pentium on a 32-bit bus would have been painful without the extra cache. There you go. Looks like the caches are working correctly. And I guess to finish it off, we'll run SpeedSys here. Which, oh, there we go. is running quite slowly. 486 is a 32-bit bus. Although the Trident card is in an 8-bit it's on an 8-bit card, so it's only an 8-bit ISA card. But the 486 has a 32-bit memory path. Oh, hi, Steven. Steven says, hello, I have Linux on all my computers now. Awesome. All right, so we can see that SpeedSys says we are at 45.86 for processor performance, which it says is equivalent to an AM5X86 133, which I quite honestly don't agree with that necessarily, but I guess maybe in its benchmark it did. Especially because it's only a 25 megahertz bus speed, because this is only the 63 megahertz Pentium Overdrive. All right. You know, I think we can exit that because that's not going to really tell us anything. All right. Let's maybe get a more accurate depiction of what the Pentium processor could do in a 486 by actually giving it a video card that has a, okay, granted, still not going to be a stellar performer. But I am going to be fair. We will use a 32-bit Trident card, just to be fair. This is the one I had in there. This is a great card for debugging because, I mean, it'll pretty much go in anything that has an 8-bit ISA slot available, including an XT. So this would totally go in that XT that I was working on Tuesday. You just jumper it for CGA graphics and you're good. All right. So now that we have a 32-bit video card in here, I don't have any SingLabs. I think SingLabs did make a 32-bit or a Visa Local Bus card. S3 definitely did. I don't have either. S3 ones are kind of sought after. Probably the SingLabs one as well. All right, so let's we'll run the same benchmarks. Oh, there we go. Is that looking a bit better there, Chris? 58.1. All right, that 58.1. Up from 12.9. All right. I'm going down the benchmarks in order as they are on the screen of the ones I ran. So PC Player, we were 1.7 with the 8-bit card. Chris says, oh yeah. Yeah, this is definitely looking much better. I mean, the score won't be phenomenal because this benchmark's tough on any system. 4.6. 1.7 to 4.6. All right. Now, by popular demand, because we're there, Doom. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. This already looks so much better. Why, if you got a 486, you probably want Visa Local Bus graphics, if not PCI, if you've got one of those 486 boards. Although, not all PCI video cards will work on a 486. I've got some PCI video cards, and their ROMs apparently have Pentium specific code. I bet, though, those cards would work with this overdrive processor. Ooh, that could be interesting. Maybe I'll have to dig them out if I can remember which ones they are and find my PCI motherboard. I think it does have a socket 3, so I think it would work with this overdrive. And I might just have to see if, is it just maybe the card edges were really badly corroded, or would it actually work with a Pentium? Oh, there we go. So we went from 9254 real ticks to 2305. Much more respectable score. Oh, yeah. All right, so we will now run Quake. Quake was 6.2. Retrotech Chris says, my Gateway 2000 486DX266 downstairs has a PCI video card in it. Oh, neat. Yeah, I'm so used to when I see a 486 with PCI that it's like a Intel DX4 Intel DX4 or one of the AMD 5x86s or one of the Cyrix 5x86s. I mean, not that those boards don't work with the DX266. Of course they will. They work with any 486 processor. Steven's asking, would a GT 1030 work in this? It only uses 30 watts of power. Probably not, because this motherboard has ISA and Visa Local Bus slots. There's no PCI. I don't think you'd be able to adapt down to something. Yeah, this is an old motherboard. I'll go back to table cam when I finish benchmarks, just so you can see what system I'm running this in. I may also dare to try to... Oh, so we went from 6.2 to 11.4. Now, Quake is definitely a game that is probably processor limited. So I'm not surprised that putting in a 32-bit video card only almost doubled the performance, because the processor is going to be a limiting factor. All right, now, one thing that I don't think the video card will affect is speed sys. Although it certainly did load faster. I don't think its benchmark is going to be changed by a 32-bit video card. $45.86. Yeah, the benchmark's the same. Any ROM caching on the board? I think it does have some rudimentary ROM caching. Ooh, nice. This video card's got a nice banner. All right, let's see here. Okay, so I've got the caches enabled. Okay, I don't have any... Okay, I do have video ROM shadowed, apparently. I do not have the... Oh, system RAM... Actually, the ROM may be cached by in a by default. Oh, interesting. I just realized something. We had the internal write back cache disabled. Actually, hit and refresh. I think you want to enable that for faster performance. Okay, so the video ROM is cached, but I can't cache the system ROM, or it may be enabled by default. I wonder if that, turning on write back cache, I wonder if that sped anything up. Let's run cache check. No, those are the same numbers. Even says, I remember a graphics card called a Voodoo. Yes, I don't have a Voodoo card. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. I'd like to get one for my industrial PC, but I want to get one of the ones where you that needs an external 2D card, because my industrial PC, the 2D graphics are like phenomenal, but it's not a 3D card. All right, let's see here. I wonder if what benchmark would show the actually not sure. Okay, we'll run Doom. I don't know if enabling write back for the internal cache is going to speed anything up, because it kind of looks like it was already enabled. Oh, I think it was already enabled, because I think there's actually a hardware jumper that sets that. I don't know why there's a BIOS setting. Yeah, there's a hardware jumper that sets that, so it probably was enabled. I doubt this will show any difference. Anyways, while we wait for this to run, so for anyone that joined more recently, here's the system I've got the Pentium Overdrive in. It is a Shuttle Hot 419 motherboard. So there's our Pentium Overdrive processor. I've got a Visa Local Bus drive controller and our Visa Local Bus video card and 8 megs of RAM. Yeah, apparently, at least according to what Wikipedia says on that multiplier, because Chris is commenting on the 2.5 multiplier is interesting, because this would be the only place on the 486s where a half multiplier was in place. Yeah, apparently Intel didn't make it a 3x multiplier because they were afraid that it would then steal business away from low-end Pentium systems. I guess they were afraid that it might actually, yeah, take away from sales of like the 75 and 90 megahertz Pentium systems. Although the thing is, I mean, it still wouldn't have matched performance because the memory bus on a 486 board's 32-bit and the memory bus on a Pentium motherboard 64-bit, but still. Yeah, Chris says, naturally marketing driven and not technical driven. What else is new? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah, I think that's what it boiled down to. We don't want to steal business away from our high-end flagship by making the overdrive processor the same speed as our lower-end Pentiums. All right, now I'm going to do something wild and crazy. I don't know if this is going to work, but I am going to attempt to overclock this Pentium Overdrive processor by changing the bus speed from 25 megahertz, which is what it's rated to run at, to 33 megahertz. I don't know how overclockable these are. This may not really work at all. This may be an early one that it may not run at all. Or it might. Why, well, so far so good. Chris says, welcome to Cooking Silicon with Justin. Yeah. All right, so let's DOS bench. All right, we'll start with our 3D bench. Oh, for a moment there, I thought it had maybe crashed. So by overclocking, we went from 58.1 to 77.3. Not bad. All right, PC player benchmark. The most difficult and weirdest benchmark on DOS Bench. We were 4.6 at 63 megahertz. And Chris says, holy moly, yeah. Smoking the CPU hot. Yeah, says Thomas. All right, and our player bench, which you won't be able to see because my head is in the way, is 6. 6.0. 4.6 to 6.0. All by overclocking the bus just a little bit. All right, let's try Doom. Chris says, so basically you got more performance out of that Visa Local Bus card with the Pentium CPU. Yeah, I did. And I think we might be squeezing a little bit more out of it, too. Because Capcom wants to see Quake. Yeah, Quake is next. Quake is next. Chris says, and this is the Trident card? Wow. Yes. This is the Trident Visa Local Bus card. $17.48. Wow. 63 megahertz, it was 2305. 83 megahertz, 1748. Chris says the TGUI 9440 is actually a decent chipset, and we are seeing that. Yes, it is actually not bad. All right. Quake. This might actually, I'm going to predict it's going to be about 14 or 15 frames a second. And so far, it seems stable. Now, granted, will I leave this overclocked? No. I will not leave this overclocked. This is just for a short exercise to see what the performance would be at 83 megahertz. Cupbomb says it's definitely playable. Yeah, it definitely is playable. I'm thinking that little bit of... Because the thing is, not only is the processor running 20 megahertz faster internally, but the Visa Local Bus card runs at the bus frequency. So we also have increased 15.1 frames per second. Yeah. So the Visa Local Bus card can accept data faster too because it's running at 33 megahertz. So increasing that bus speed RetroTech Chris says, why not? It could very well have been a higher rated CPU sold as a 63 megahertz. True. Maybe I will leave it overclocked. I mean, I only paid $50 for it. Yeah, I'll leave it overclocked. I mean, I paid $50 for it. Yeah, it does seem to be running quite well at 83 megahertz. I'm actually thinking it's an early one because the pin is broken from the factory. 60.95. That's like a 33% increase. Oh, I guess 63 to 83 megahertz is about a 33% increase. Yeah, so at 63 megahertz, it was 45.86. 83 megahertz, it's 60.95. David Starbucks says power supply. Yeah, the power supply's got enough power for it. David says, Compaq has dead hard drive, 486. Oh. Oh, David's working on a computer. It's the PSU is 486. Okay, I'm catching things out of order. Gutbomb says, better score than I got with it in the DOS card. I got low 50s. Yeah, the RetroTech Chris says, yes, this might be faster than some Pentiums. Yeah. I think I can see why maybe Intel wanted to pull back a little bit because, yeah, if you had one of these 83 megahertz overdrives in your 486, I could see being quite happy with it for depending on what your workflow was and not really wanting to buy like a Pentium 75. In fact, actually at 83 megahertz, you might be happy enough you wouldn't want to buy a Pentium 90 because that's only 7 megahertz more. But yeah, that's Richard Tech Chris says, I always thought meh overdrive since the system is only as fast as the slowest component. But the components here seem up to the task. Yeah. And I'm actually surprised this Trident card works this great. This is like, I mean, this is actually quite a competent video card. I mean, I don't want to like put Trident cards in all my 486 systems, but then again, this is actually quite an impressive Visa Local Bus card. There we go. If we want to see a little specs about the processor, so it does see it as a 83 megahertz overdrive. There's the main board chipset. All right, video info. This is a Trident TGUI 9440 AGI. 1 megabyte of DRAM. I'm trying to look. Do I have... Oh, I think I might have memory that I could upgrade it to 2 megabytes. RetroTech Chris says, yeah, I'm going to have to rethink my options on overdrive chips. I want to say the AGI is the later version. I was kind of wondering if that was the case. It did look like a slightly newer card. I guess the other thing that attracted me to that card is because, well, the other Trident card that I think is actually in working shape because the contacts look good, I don't have zip RAM. So this card's staying at a megabyte. Although it is a TGUI 9440 CXI, but zip RAMs are older memory, I think, than the like I forget what the package style is that pretty much everything went to. Oh, Chris says the memory upgrade might only get you interlaced modes. That was the case for my Cirrus Logic VLB card. All right, I do have to say, though, the video output on this Trident card is rather noisy. That could be because it's not installed in a case, but oh, David Starbucks says, cat typed disregard my last. Your cats are too cute to get mad at them. All right, is this Trident card's just like a little bit noisy on the video output? It does look like it might be a rather cheaply made card. But anyways, it does use a slightly easier to find memory format. But it looks like it's one of those. No, it's not a Jton card because it's made in China. I think Jton was making cards in the US at this time period. Kind of a noisy video output. Let's see if maybe this Trident card takes zip RAM, but the PCB looks slightly nicer. And actually, I think this is a Jayton or Jat. Yeah, Jate. Yeah, I think this is a um, slightly better made card. Although not. I'm trying to look for a manufacturing date on it. All right, let's see if maybe it's got less noise in the video output. Oh, okay. Oh, I may need to clean the contacts some more. Retrotech Chris says the AGI chip is going to give you better flexibility than a standard 9440. Yeah, I may just put up with the noise. Yeah, this second Trident card is all right. Not cooperating. All right, let me. Don't worry. There's more Trident cards where that one came from. Oh, here we go. This is another Trident AGI revision. Although this one's got some contact issues as well. I'm not expecting this one's just going to work. Steven says, amazing how far computers have come. This one I'm using right now boosts to 5.5 gigahertz, and it's a 12th gen Intel CPU. Some come closer to 6 gigahertz boost. Cupbum says, I'd take a 16 megahertz 68030 over an Intel 12th gen any day. Okay. Okay, I think that card Actually, I have some cards that, despite the fact the card edges look okay, I think they're tarnished and need extensive cleaning. All right, let's see here. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. I actually do have. Someone said Sing Labs. I actually do have a Sing Labs Visa Local Bus card. I don't remember if it works though. I guess we can see. Retro Tech Chris says, "Yeah, the modern tech is just an appliance to me." Arg. Probably put the postcard in the system. Oh, there we go. So this is the Sing Labs Visa Local Bus card. And okay, we're not happy about something. Hmm. All right. Let me make sure everything's seated. All right. Steven says, I am playing Indiana Jones in the Great Circle. The game is 104 gigabytes. If I could not play it on this old of computer, if I had room, I would also do some retro gaming. Um, something looks wrong here. Probably the video card. I am fully expecting that. Oh, interesting. I was fully expecting that the game was going to show graphical anomalies. Then again, though, maybe where the text goes on the card's having a problem. So yeah, I should probably start working my. Probably add a note to my Visa Local Bus cards as I'm testing them here. This is the Sing Labs card, and I didn't mean to open the menu. This says, just a text mode issue. Who needs text mode anyways? Well, the good news is it runs faster. The bad news is there's characters smattered all over the place. Oh, YouTube's complaining about something. YouTube is not receiving enough data or something or other. Alright. Richard Tick Chris says, it looks like Castle Adventure or whatever that game was. All right. I wanted to add a note to those two Trident cards. If I pull them out again, stream seems fine to you. Okay, well, YouTube is... I don't know what it's complaining about. At least you can hear me. All right. Let me try something here, just out of curiosity. Go back to the correct bus speed for this processor. I suspect the card is probably still going to throw graphical anomalies. Huh, interesting. Maybe this video card doesn't like 33 megahertz? Or maybe it needed a wait state. I don't know. Looks like the graphical anomalies are gone. I guess let's run Doom and... Maybe this video card needs a wait state at 33 megahertz. I think, though, I think I can say that that was the video card, not the processor. But I suspect slowing the bus speed down... It must be a clock issue. All right. Let me take this Trident card that works, and I'm going to draw a check mark on it. But I am going to kind of write a note that's noisy video. Actually, if anyone's wondering, the Sing Labs card was 2308. The Trident card at the same processor speed was 2305, so basically no difference. All right, so I'm just curious. All right, so this processor seems to run... Wait a minute. I think I may have set the... Oh, no, that's right. Okay, I'm gonna go back to 33 megahertz, but I'm going to change the VISA setting, the VISA local bus setting on this motherboard to one wait state. Means I need to close JP33, which I think that's a jumper that's right by the VISA local bus slot. Yeah. JP33 should be, I think, this one here. Yeah. All right. So now the the Visa Local Bus should be running with one wait state, which would also affect the controller card. And okay. All right. Well, I guess the Singlabs, this video card that's got a Singlabs, I think it's an ET4000. It apparently doesn't like running at 33 megahertz. Okay, I'm going to write a note on the back of the card. Okay, at 25. Random characters at 33. Okay, well, I guess that means that I probably won't be using that video card in much because I like my 33 megahertz bus speeds. All right, let's try this. ET4000 was also available in Visa Local Bus. There were a number of cards that actually were available PCI or Visa Local Bus. In fact, it could be the same chip, and there's a pin that determines which bus mode it uses. Okay, so this is just to kind of round it out, this is a Cirrus Logic based card. I think this is, the Sing Labs card was a Diamond Stealth video card. Diamond Stealth 32. Let me peek on the card. Yeah. Oh, this is a Diamond Speed Star. The Cirrus Logic one. The Diamond Speed Star. I knew it was a diamond. So we are back to 33 megahertz. No wait states, as you can see. We are running just fine again. David Starbucks says, ran mine with all Voodoo 2s. Nice. So I suspect there's something wrong with that Singlabs video card I have. I mean, it is an old card. And it looks like it just might not run at 33 megahertz. It may be a very old Visa Local Bus card. It is possible, and I might check if there was a BIOS update for it. Maybe the original BIOS programs some wrong settings into the graphics chip, so it doesn't handle 33 megahertz very well. I guess I could check to see if there's a later BIOS for the card, but I suspect that maybe that particular card lost the Silicon Lottery. You won't believe this. The Trident card was actually faster. Trident card was 1748 real ticks. It was only 1863. That is actually a noticeable difference. $73.1 with Cirrus Logic. Trident was 77.3. Wow. All right. I'm sure Gutbomb would ask for Quake, so we'll run Quake. It wouldn't surprise me if Quake is still around 14 because it's processor bound. All right, so what I can say is this 63 megahertz Pentium Overdrive is quite stable at 83 megahertz, so it must be a. I mean, it's always possible when you have chips like that if one SKU is more popular than another, then they will sometimes mark the faster chip as the slower one. Although it may also be the case that this was just an early Pentium Overdrive. They weren't ready to launch the 83 megahertz yet. So it got marked as a 63 megahertz, even though it would have totally been an 83 megahertz had that SKU been ready for shipping. 15 frames a second, so no real impact with the Cirrus Logic card. All right, now this is probably the one that will be faster than the Trident card. So to finish off our little benchmark run, I've got an ATI Mach 64. Now, I have to thank RetroTech Chris for spotting this card at the swap meet last year, putting it in my hands, and saying, you need this card. Subtitle might have been, because I don't need to buy it. I already have one. I think he already had one. The Mach 64 is quite a nice video card. As you can see, totally fine at 33 megahertz. So we'll doom. So the score to beat is 1748. That's the Trident card. I think we're on track to at least meet the high mark. No, 2140. Wow. I thought this card was faster than that. That's slower than that Cirrus Logic card. Wow, I'm shocked that the whole thing about the Trident cards is most of them are like cheap and underperforming. That 9440 AGI is like the hidden gem in their lineup. I mean, I knew that they had a couple that were like that got really good, but then the 3D cards threw them for a loop. And I guess the 9440 was the one where they were getting really good at 2D cards, but unfortunately others in the industry were starting to work on 3D cards. I guess my Mach 64 is... Huh. I might have to run benchmarks again in the system I was going to put the Mach 64 in. Okay, so Quake was 15.4 frames per second. So it did let Quake run just a scotch faster. All right, let's run Superscape. I'm curious. Maybe there was just something about the card that didn't let Doom write data fast enough. Nope, that's slower. The score to beat was 77.3 and that's 69. Call it as I see it. Well, well, sorry, Mach 64. I guess you're gonna go back in the box because you're not faster than the Trident card. Kind of disappointed in that, honestly, Mach 64. Although I think I've got a computer that can more readily use the Mach 64. It is... Alright, so I guess we're back to the Trident card that I thought had noisy video. It has a couple of electrolytic caps on it that maybe I'll replace someday. Oh, wait. Oh, there's a jumper on it. But that's not going to cause noise. Hmm. All right, so I guess tonight's winner is the Pentium Overdrive. The eBay regret score is it is absolutely not a regret. I'm glad I read the description too fast, bought it, and then realized there was a broken pin. Because it would be a shame if I had skipped it and not bought it because it had a broken pin. With an honorable mention to this Trident card that I think... I suspect I got it from one of you all. Either Bill Lewis or one of you all. I don't... Unfortunately, I had a couple people send me Trident Visa Local Bus cards, and I lost track of who sent what, so I'm not sure exactly where this one came from. But, yeah, so honorable mention to this Trident TGUI 9440 AGI, because it rips. The only problem with this particular one is the video is a bit noisy. Maybe that's because I don't have this in a case. Maybe it needs recapped. I think they're just 10 microfarad caps, and I probably have a bunch of them somewhere, so I may recap it at some point. I could almost put, I could almost put tantalums in place of the electrolytics. that could, because I have a whole bunch of tantalums. Oh yeah, if anyone's wondering, so last night I came down to the basement and okay, so the Trident card is, yeah, seems to be a consistent performer. Anyways, I came down last night to clear the bench because I knew I had an XT sitting on the bench. So I have put the motherboard in the bottom of the case. I put the power supply in the bottom of the case. And so, it's in a case along with the controller card and the CGA card. I haven't had a chance to stop by the hardware store yet to get a battery for the controller card, but I at least have it in the case, so it's safer. I was also had started to try to 3D print some things for the case. I'm not going to try to track down tandem drives. So I was going to 3D print um, a GoTech, a 5 1/4 inch GoTech, uh, whatever they call it, frame or whatnot. I've got some printed for a K Pro that I'll have to get back to at some point, but I was going to print one of those for the IBM, and then I was going to see if I could maybe talk one of our 3D modeling experts into taking the model for the drive bay adapter thing that I found and modifying it so that you could mount one of the SIBA compact flash to IDE adapters in it, but make it so it looked like it was one of the half height hard drives with a little cutout for a rectangular LED. Yeah, that's exactly what I printed, Thomas. The GoTech frame for the Model 3. Yep, I was trying to print one of those. Unfortunately, the 3D printer had other things in mind, and I started to print, and I saw that it was adhering to the bed, and then I walked away to do something and came back, and I had modern art on the 3D printer, so I guess I'm going to have to, like, do something to that printer. It was one of the ones at work, so I guess the bed needs calibrated or adjusted or something, because it certainly did not stay adhered to the bed long enough to even get far enough to make any difference. So, anyways, um, yeah, more on that to come. But I thought it would be cool if there was a compact flash card holder that was kind of designed so it at first glance it looked like it was one of those half height hard drive faceplates, like the ones that came with the Seagates that had kind of the rows of vent holes at the bottom. Except maybe one of those vent holes potentially could be the a slot where the compact flash card actually went. Or maybe the compact flash cards goes in slightly higher up. But I thought that'd be cool. So that you look at the IBM and maybe at first glance you just think it's a GoTech with a hard drive. And then you look a little closer and you realize it's a for an XTIDE. I think that could look pretty cool. Thomas Armstrong says, our 3D printers hate the AC in the room. Well, the one I was trying to use, it has an enclosure on it to isolate it from the room, and the heat was on in the room. Because I'd actually tried to print some other things on it as well, and probably my bad, but the thing is, they didn't stick to the bed on one side. But I thought it was a problem with the G-code file I created. I thought that maybe somehow I didn't have the part completely flat on the bed in Prusa Slicer. So it wasn't flat on the bed. But no, it probably was the bed is like crooked or something. I may have to fix it. Anyways, I was trying to print a spacer for my oscilloscope because I'd really like to mount the GoTech I have for my oscilloscope in my oscilloscope so I can put the lid on. But this is like a piece that is supposed to go on the GoTech. So it screws onto the GoTech, and then it's got the screw hole for the where it actually attaches to the oscilloscope, because Tektronix was Tektronix apparently. Unfortunately, this particular model wasn't for a Tech scope; it was for another brand, and it looks like that other brand may have put the hole in the on the opposite side. So I don't think this spacer is going to work for my oscilloscope. It's also the wrong color, but I was wanting to make sure that it actually fit before I bothered taking the right color filament in to print it. Because I was going to take a spool of my muted white filament to print the spacer for real, so that it didn't stick out like a sore thumb. But I don't think that spacer is actually going to work in the Tektronix scope. I think I'm going to have to modify it to put that hole on the other side of the bracket, because I think the oscilloscope that adapter was made for has the floppy drive mounted on the other side of the oscilloscope, so the mechanism is like 180 degrees from how Tech mounted it. So I think that's why it's ultimately not going to work. But anyways. All right. So I guess with that, I'm going to have to call tonight's stream a success. I got the pins straightened in the overdrive processor. We got it in a 486 board. It works. It overclocks. And it benchmarks great. So, not a regret. I'm glad I snapped it up for $50. So, again, if the seller's watching, I don't think you broke that pin. I think Intel did, because Intel added one too many pins to the processor. I suspect that pin is probably another ground or voltage pin that they added by mistake. And if on some board they used a socket that was actually made using the data sheet, then the processor wouldn't go in the socket because there'd be an extra pin. I think that's why Intel removed it from those early processors, is because it wouldn't go in certain sockets because there wasn't supposed to be a pin there. Ugh. Yeah, I'm getting tired. So, but yeah, that's great. So I guess my shuttle motherboard, I have it's a little bit less of a hot mess because it worked like a champ with this processor. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say, if you see a Pentium Overdrive 63 megahertz and you and there's a broken pin, if it's pin A4, it wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. And Jeremy says PCBs have cleared customs in Chicago. Oh, hi Jeremy. Oh, wait, you were in earlier. That's good news. So yeah. So yeah, I guess upcoming next week. I think one of the streams next week, possibly Tuesday, we'll take a look at this motherboard here, because it's probably going to need some work to run. If there was a motherboard that I might get a Mr. BIOS for, Chris, it's probably this one, because I think this chipset is one that there's Mr. BIOSes for potentially. But first, we gotta get the motherboard to work, assuming it doesn't just work. But anyways, so we'll take a look at this board. For those of you that didn't see Wheel of Regrets, you might want to look closely at the 486 socket. Also, the fact there's a 386 on it. Yes, this is one of those funny boards that has a 386 and can do VESA local bus. So we'll probably look at this Tuesday, and we'll have to see what I feel like for Thursday. I may continue on the trace repair train. Maybe next week might be for December. We might be trying to repair motherboards that can run DOS, Because I have a couple in my pile that I need to look at for tracer pairs. So, but anyways, I think Tuesday we'll start looking at that board because I think that'd be cool to get that up and running. And maybe once and for all, I'll be able to see how Visa Local Bus works on a 386. So with that, I'd like to ask you to smash that like button if you've liked this stream. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming live streams, which I usually live stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. Next week, I should be back to my regular schedule of 8 p.m. Tuesday and 9 p.m. Thursday. So, yeah, you're welcome, Jack. Glad I could stream tonight. So, yep. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when I go live. And with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for hanging out, being cool in the chat, offering good moral support, and even the suggestion of just give it a little thump. Because, well, that's how we got the processor in. Because the pins were like 99% of the way there. So yeah, sometimes you got to hit it with a hammer, and sometimes, though, you just give it a little love tap with your hand. Luckily for processors going in the socket, it's the latter. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Take care, and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.